And we're live. Bum, bum, bum. No way, it actually worked this time. Awesome. What's up, guys? It's Friday. Goodness. All right, I am still getting my phone set up. You already know. Let's see. Where is Hunt now? Hi, guys. Hi. Hi. Ha. All right. Okay. On Scott's page. Hi, guys. Hi, guys. All right. Hold on. Oh, you're in. I can hear you. Yes! No way we did it on the first try, dude. That's no freaking way.
It's pretty
Awesome.
good Wi-Fi at the school.
Oh, perfect. I know. I just flipped mine on too. Hold on. I'm way too tall. What's up, man?
Not much. About 8 p.m. here, 6 o'clock there.
You're 2 hours, right? Hold on.
Yeah,
I can't see you.
time difference. I thought you were
I'm
like right there with me.
no, California, dude. Hello, you guys. Anyhow, let's see. We'll start. We already got people on here. My name is Tiffany. I'm the founder of Welding Women Syndicate, and we are still celebrating our 1 year anniversary. So I am actually highlighting all things education. And I know he's not a woman. That's all right. That's all right.
Got the hair for it.
Scott actually embodies everything that I wish I could have like gone to school for when I was in school. Shit, when I first learned welding. And I've been a huge fan. I've been dying to pick his brain about so many things. So let's see it. Like, this is Scott. This is the owner, the man, the myth, the legend of Precision Welding Academy. So thank you for having us.
Thanks for coming in. Well,
I love it, dude. I I have so many questions. I'm not gonna lie. Look at this. That's all your notes.
I have notes. I have a drink and a water. That's my notes.
Necessities. Well, I mean, you
I
know
didn't.
all this stuff.
I went the Rocks new
What
thing.
what is that?
The Rocks energy drink. I trying it out. It's not too bad.
Sugar though?
It says zero sugar, naturally.
Oh,
We'll see what happens.
interesting. All right, you guys, time to call out some guys. There's a bunch of you guys on here right now. I appreciate it. Anyhow, I want to hear it all, man. I want to hear like the backstory. Okay, so I put up a little questionnaire on my page, and I basically asked people what they want to hear from you. So we want to know, what were you doing before you welded?
Before I welded, I
Yeah,
was working
and
at
don't say you were born and boom.
no, I was working at Boston Market. I was I guess their meat carver. So
Mhm.
I did that. I was in high school before I welded. Pretty much was working at Boston Market. Was into a whole lot of drugs and stuff like that, and withdrew from high school, and then got in that car crash I posted about, and pretty much started my career in welding. Went back to high school, learned the trade, and started pretty much saying, this is what I want to do.
Now, how was your education experience when you were learning?
In high school or welding school?
Original, like in high school. Because
In
do
high
they
school,
even have that? They don't have that really here anymore.
they do in Houston. Well, actually, yeah, Texas is getting huge into it. I go to a high school welding event probably every other weekend once school starts.
No shit. Wow.
Yeah,
Well, you guys are like the epicenter of welding. It's not necessarily so widely embraced, especially on the outer states. You know what I mean?
yeah. But whenever I was in high school, I took welding as just a blow off class. I came back to high school. I just said, you know what? I just need to get my degree. I just got out of the hospital. I was there for about, I think, like 2 weeks. Um, got back into high school and said, I just need to get my degree, get my high school diploma, and then get out there because I tried for the GED, and apparently I'm too stupid for that. So,
Knock it off.
so got my high school diploma. I went in, took welding as just kind of a blow off class, and the instructor said, "Have you ever thought about doing this as a trade?" He said, "What do you want to do when you leave here?" And I said, "I just want a diploma. I want to get out and start I guess go to work. And he said, well, what are you going to do? And I said, no idea. So we went over to an oxyacetylene torch, and he said, all right, let me show you how to cut. So I started cutting, and I just kept destroying metal all day, and I just loved every single second about it. Pretty much just seeing what just a small torch can do to metal, and then just being able to create stuff with that. I did like some Texases, different designs, and all that. And then he said, okay, now let me show you how to put it back together. And that's when we actually started welding, and I was like, okay, I can see myself doing this. This was the only thing that ever got me interested in school, because I
Wow.
had an early release, so I got out at 1, and then I went to my job. I got early release just because I just wanted to get out of school early. But I came back after I changed and started welding, and I helped rebuild his trailer. Stayed there all year rebuilding the whole trailer.
Mhm.
Finally got it done right whenever I graduated. He pulled it out and pretty much took it home. So.
I love this. So obviously you go on, you're living. That's like crazy talk, right? Like I knew before you even started because we had talked about it. And I
Mhm.
know a lot of people knew, but like it's like the most insane thing. A welding school. Like holy shit, right? Why? What led you up to the point that you were gonna open up this school?
Well, I don't usually like talking bad about other schools and all that stuff,
No, no, please do so.
but I worked at Tulsa for about a year and a half.
Okay.
And when I worked there. They had 3 shifts,
Mm-hmm.
and the 3 shifts were 5-hour shifts. They didn't have enough employees to cover all 3 shifts, so they pretty much scheduled you to work either 2 shifts or all day. I was on all day for about 8 to 10 months,
Mm-hmm.
so I was working 16-hour days, dealing with 30 students each shift. So I have 90 students, um, and just it was just insane. I was so tired. I didn't know which student was who anymore. I'm trying to get to every single student. There's like there's a bunch of students there that just didn't have any passion to be there. They just said, "Hey, um, I just want to." Pretty much, I some guy picked me up off the street, told me to come to welding school, and here I am. I got approved for FAFSA, and here I am. I saw those people. Like I'd walk down the booths all day, never saw any of them, and then the admissions rep would come up to me towards the end because they got 6 weeks to do their class. You got 101, 110, 105, all that stuff. That's their blocks. And the admission rep would come up to me about the last 2 weeks, and they go, how's these students doing? And I said, well, I haven't seen them in like 4 weeks.
Oh shit.
And he goes, well, how can we get them to pass? I was like, well, they need to do their test. I said, their grades shit pretty much because they haven't been here. I haven't seen any tests. I haven't seen anything. And they said, well, how can we get them to pass?
Wow.
They gotta show up. And then all of a sudden I came in one day and my grades and attendance were changed to them.
No way.
Yeah, so I just it wasn't right to me. And
Right.
as I was going, when I was working at Tulsa, my name was kind of getting built in the welding industry, and I was like, I can't have my name associated with this if I'm trying to pretty much put out the best welders, promote it and put my name and back it. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So like I'm at my like pretty much wits end at this place. So I finally put in my 2 weeks. I got another job lined up, and my last day there. Well, I had 2 days left, but it was I had a class, and it was their classroom day, last classroom day, and apparently the teachers got. I wasn't there the day before, but the teachers got into a group and like flipped out about shoes in the classroom. They said they can't have shoes in the classroom, and they're not allowed in the shop whenever they're in classroom. They're in classroom all day.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know it was that big of a deal. Well, I came back up and I'm having classroom and they have to take this test. And all of a sudden, my supervisor walks in and just flips out and tells them they all have to go, they all have to fail their class, and all this stuff. Um, and I just wasn't working with that. I wasn't going to stand for that. So, I just told the class, I said, class is canceled. You all get 100. Let's go. And then we all walked out of that school. And then that's pretty much like right then and there. I'm texting Dr. Welds Austin, like
Yeah.
as I'm leaving, I'm going to start my own school. Fuck this place. This is bullshit. You can't do this and all that. And then I started, I left. I had 2 week vacation. They paid me for 2 weeks. They said, hey, just don't come back ever again. Here's 2 weeks pay and all that. And I'm like, oh, never had this luxury. So I just,
Right.
I started thinking about PWA. It was actually going to be called Houston Welding Institute or something like that. I think I still have the original logo. I worked on that with Mark and Marcus from Wellporn. Me and him were partner up and start the first one. But then all of a sudden, fun was a big issue. So I kind of put on the back end and all that, and then I went to work and I found myself teaching teaching people around me as I was welding out in the field. I was like, hey, you should do this, you should change that. And it wasn't experienced people, it was like people trying to get into the industry. They were helpers and they were trying to start welding. And it kept like weighing at me, and I'm like, I need to make this a reality. I need to get back into teaching because I love it. I'm sitting here welding bored, and I'm more excited about seeing someone else's potential and them growing in the industry.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like I started bringing back PWA. I still didn't have the name yet. I was still thinking of the name. I hated the Houston Academy, the name and stuff. I said, it doesn't sound like what I want. So it took me a while to get the name. I'd take forever trying to decide certain things. And then I got a call from Arc Labs, and they said, hey, our school's kind of going under. We need someone. We got your resume. It looks like you, I don't know how they got my resume, but they said I applied 8 times. Applying 8 times. But they said, we want you to come out here, see what we're doing and all this stuff. And I said, yeah, that's not a problem. So I headed out to Arc Labs. I was there for about a year and a half as their lead instructor, trying to get their school and stuff going, and it didn't feel right. Me and the owner, like, he was a cool guy, but he was trying to be Tulsa, and he kept picking my brain about Tulsa and all this stuff. And I said, hey, it's not, not dogging on Tulsa. There's some good students that come out of there, but their mentality, the actual owners of that place, their mentality is not what you want.
Right.
And then it just kept kind of going downhill, and I was like, it's time for me to open my own. It's time for me to put my actual heart into something and make sure that I teach it the way I see it should be taught. And I left and I started this place.
Dude, you know what? I know so many colleges now and so many people who have schools, and honestly, there's a huge difference from the way people teach at private education or major institutions. Like, there's like an agenda that doesn't necessarily wrap around welding, right? It's more about the dollar or about like passing them so that they can have like that badge of honor that says they hold vocational trades. And this was a hard lesson learned actually with my past teaching experience. And I think that's probably why I keep always going to your page. I'm like, this is the way it should be done. This is the way to. That's why I look at like AWA and I look at you. I've told my students, go to Scott, please. Don't just stop at a 101 class, because major institutions, while they seem to have the best interests, they don't. They're not welder run. They don't have cohesive curriculum, and they're more looking at the dollar, right? And I've noticed that, and I think it's really hard. I mean, I think everybody should open a damn welding school privately. It's hard because, like the huge trending idea right now is advocating for people to go to the trade schools. But where do you send them? I'm going to send everybody to your school, or I'm going to send everybody to AWA. I'm like, I'm serious, because you look and you're like, oh no, that's not the way things should be. Oh no, they're shitty to their instructors. Oh no, they can't weld for shit, you know? There's always some issue. I know you've had to know, you have to know like so many people now, like the programs, right?
Yeah, I've had people tour, and I'm not a salesman. I know what I have here, and I've told students that kind of looked iffy, like they kind of just were like, I don't know if this is the right place. And I'm like, hey, there's like 4 other welding schools around this area. I said, go check them out. I
Mm-hmm.
said, money, this is your future. You have to have your right fit. I said, if we're not the right fit, that's not a problem. But this is your money. You know, you can pay us either 1,000 or up to 19,000.
Right.
That's a lot of money. If you don't feel like this is the right place and you're having doubts, go do your review of other schools. Go talk to people. Can you
Yeah.
talk to the owner? Can you talk to teachers? Can you talk to students? Are you going to talk to like people that aren't kind of paid to talk good about the school?
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the biggest things. Like people will tell you, you know, Tulsa's the #1 place in the world. I'm like, well, why? And they say, well, I see them everywhere. I'm like, well, they pay for a lot of advertising, but
Right.
go review them. There are awesome students that come from there, but go review them. See if it's a right fit for you. Do you want to go to a bigger school? Do you want to go to a smaller school? It's all what works for you, and that's the #1 thing. I'm not in this for anyone's money. I want to make sure that I can put good welders out into the field.
Well, you know, at the same time, and this is like a conversation I have with every single instructor. We want you there, right? But at the same time, if this is not the right program for you and you're investing money and you're going to pull out and you're going to be like, screw welding, then that's like, you know, like exponentially when you start talking to people, those people think that welding sucks, not necessarily because they didn't do their homework, but because they're only listening to the words that they're saying. You know what I mean? They're not doing like their due diligence and actually reviewing schools, like you say. What do you think that there is like to bridge that gap? Like what do you do for your own school aside from telling them to do the review? You know, what do you think that you could do from high schools to yours to just basically tell them, look, this is what it is, you know, like
Hmm.
not necessarily talking to them, do like what do you do? There's a huge gap in between the two, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's no right or wrong answer on that. It's more just being open with them. Like, uh, what school offers you the most? What school's offering what you actually want to do?
Mm-hmm.
It have to take this program and that is it. And you're feeling like, oh well, I actually want to go into this industry, and they're pushing you somewhere. Then that's a red flag. You need to kind of
Sure.
look. Um, and then it's just really you got to look at kind of how many reviews are they having? Because some schools that have tons of reviews are they literally paying their students to do it, or vice versa? It's
Right.
kind of hard to figure out in this day and age what is the best way to review a school. But it's really how you feel. You have to go with your gut feeling. And at the end of the day, your gut is going to tell you exactly all you need to know about it. If it's telling you no or it's pushing back, probably want to think about that and kind of take a step back and look again.
I think also, since social media is such a huge marketing tool, I notice one thing, a lot of the people that I follow, I go in to see what people are saying about them,
Yeah.
how well that they connect with their students, how nurturing they are, how much they highlight them.
Uh,
There's no type of marketing that
mhm.
you can cover with that. You know, like I see every time I go into your page, you're nurturing somebody, you're taking a picture, you're highlighting somebody. That to me, if I didn't know anything about you, if I didn't do my due diligence in stalking you, which we all know I do, um, I would want to go to that school. You know, like maybe 15 years ago when I started getting to the car club scene, Tulsa Welding School was actually like the red flag. Like nobody wanted anybody that went to that school. Maybe it's changed now. I don't necessarily know. I know so many different people I just don't follow anymore. But that didn't necessarily have a positive connotation with people coming out as far as like welding and fabrication. Like, don't touch my vehicle or don't do anything for me if you went to that school, which sucks. And I don't know if it necessarily is their programs. I don't really know much about them, but it was like the people there.
Yeah.
You just go onto the page and you can feel like, oh, they really don't care about their students. It's the greater
Yeah.
picture
I had
looking at.
a conversation with one of my friends. I kind of I promote the school here and there. Like I I don't really say that we're the best ever and all that stuff. I tell you what we do, but the biggest thing is look at all the posts that we do. If you go check out any school, check out their social media, see if they are just talking or they're actually promoting their students, and you can literally watch in real time how my students progress because I
Mm-hmm.
post so constantly. You can see almost day one or week one up until they're about to graduate because I post them up, and that's
Yeah.
what I honestly, that's the best advertising because you can literally watch the
Oh.
progression.
Well, and every student wants that, you know, like it's funny because I always talk about that, especially for women, because you go into any program and there's a cool welding program. Like I just talked to Mount San Antonio College and they
Mhm.
have the link for a welding program, but then they're talking about female retention. And I was like, well, where's your women? Where's the pictures? Where's the, you know, even if they're excellent instructors, you got to have it all. And all it
Yeah.
takes, take a damn picture, post it, encourage your students to do so. And I know there's a lot of privacy issues when it comes to larger institutions, but you own the place. You know what I mean? So, and I watch, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a good one. Oh, yeah, that's a good. Just because, like, I have been around so many bad instructors, including the one that I got my formal education. Oh, I'm sorry. It's not bad. It's just lack of, I know I shouldn't say that. The lack of support, you know? I love you. I really do, but not all the way. With my own college, you know, like there's just a way to go about teaching people and you need to highlight them and don't kiss their ass. You know, obviously we want to make sure that they're getting a little taste of the real life, but like you have to encourage them. It's not easy. And, you know, a lot of people, they're coming out of high school and they need a little bit more encouragement. Not necessarily, you know, like the older crowd, a lot of them don't need that. Like we just grew up differently. But the ones that are coming in, they're a little bit softer, at least that I've noticed, you know, they need a little bit more encouragement.
Yeah.
And social media is such an easy, take a picture, encourage the students to do so. That's all the marketing that you really need.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. I think I said that on one of the podcasts. I think with Art Junkies, um, it's our job. They came into this industry. They came into the school for a certain reason.
Yeah.
They came in with this high hope of making a life for themselves. Why would you be a complete ass to them? Yes, we have to be a little bit of a dick to them just to kind of give them a little bit of, real world stuff. But why would you completely tear them down? I've worked with
Right.
instructor that anytime a student brought something to him, he'd be like, "That's garbage. Why'd you even bring that to me?" And it's like, what kind of constructive criticism was that? Why did
That's
you?
how I learned.
Yeah. And they're like, "Well, we can't be soft on them." And it's like, well,
There's
they're
a happy medium.
yeah, they're going to work. They're going to learn something in the field. They're going to have that asshole in the field. I had that. My first job, I had an asshole that every time I ran a bead, he dogged on it all day, told me to grind it out, said it looked
Yeah.
like shit. We're going to have that.
Yeah.
But at school, it's our job to show them the brighter side of the industry. The
Sure.
industry isn't dark and dreary like a lot of people want it to be. It's a good industry.
Absolutely. Hell yeah. It's the best I've ever been in. Like, trust me, I've been in a lot. The best. There's so many different avenues for people to take, you know? You were talking about like when students first go into your classroom. I'm sorry, I'm kind of backing up a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
It's the bang kicking in. But do you think that because you're not a major corporation that because social media puts such a glamorous aspect onto welding that when they walk into your shop they're like, do you think that hinders you?
A little bit. I try to just tell them what it is. This is a hot industry. You're going to
Yeah.
get all this. I try to make sure that they know that they don't have to stay in the booth all day. They can come out, do projects and all that stuff. They got a lot of creativity here. If they want to do something, they just got to ask.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's hard to paint a amazing picture on certain things. So.
You do. You know what? You do a good job though. Like I honestly, I will tell any student who wants to continue their education. I know you're supposed to have retention within your own job, but I'm like, you know what? Look up Scott. I will pull you up on the board. Like, check him out. Check this out because the way you portray whoever does your pictures, dude, please tell them to call me. God, skills, brother. Seriously, I'm always like, damn, what filter did he do right here? What camera is he using? You do an amazing job of just showing a full, robust experience of what these students. That means you have like the passion for it. So whatever you're doing when it comes to like social media and highlighting, continue, because if they go onto that page and then they walk in, they should be ready to start welding with you.
Mhm. And a lot of times, like I'll bring them in because a lot of them don't understand how hot this industry is. Like I got a student in the comments right now, Roya Noble. He came all the way from Holland, and
Oh,
it doesn't get past like 75 in Holland, and came to Texas during summer. It's like 95,
whoa.
and you just have to tell him.
With humidity.
Yeah, and he's like dying in the booth. I'm like, this is welding. I'm sorry, but you chose this career path. It's going to be hot. You have to suck it up. Honestly, you just got to suck it up because it's not going to get any easier. I've only seen a few air conditioned shops.
Yeah, right.
Won't, they won't do anything to really help you except a fan. And it's just, you got to be real with them.
Well, and on top of it, you're setting them up for the wrong shit if you're going to have, unless they're in like a controlled environment and it's something sterile, then perhaps, but not everybody is going to do that. There's those very lucky individuals who have that, and fuck you guys. But, but not all of us do that. You know what? Not all of us want that. But you get used to it. I mean, it's not easy, but your body does adapt eventually. I mean,
Yeah.
I live in freaking Arkansas for 7 years, and California has like the most ideal weather. It's 70 today, and I swear to God, I was wearing a sweatshirt. So I'm like, brr. And then you go to Arkansas, and it's like 100% humidity and 120 degrees. And I have like 6 welders around me, and the plates are 1,000 degrees. And you're like, I'm going to freaking die.
Yep.
But when you love it so much, you don't care. So your body adapts, and it takes a while to learn that. You just have to like articulate that to them, right?
Oh yeah, and sometimes I'm like, you guys got to bring an extra pair of clothes so you can change at lunch, because
Right.
it can be bad, and you just got to let them know there's ways around it and everything, but you got to suck it up. You got to go to work. No one's going to tell you, um, go take a break every 2 seconds. They're going to say, hey, get back to work, take a break whenever you need to, but do what you can to cool off.
Someone said you can almost drink the air. Yeah, it's gross.
Yeah.
No doubt, dude. So I'm gonna dive into the women aspect. It's funny because I've been like trying to figure out ways and ways and ways to like how can I talk to them? How can I talk about women with him? And I was like, you know what? It's my damn show. I'm gonna ask him. I love education. I love highlighting like the best of the best out there. So, women, how many have you taught? And I've seen like, okay, let me just start out by you guys. When you do your due diligence and you go through his page, the original founder, one of the founders of your company, is a woman. I've seen little girl workshops. I've seen women you've taught. It looks like your wife is involved. Like you're always including her, so that's cool. Like you always have like the woman aspect surrounding you. So what is that like when it comes to teaching them?
It's honestly, they don't really make too many excuses. That's one thing I've noticed is
We're the best.
there's not excuses. There's one coworker that I worked with that this is one of the truest things she said is women will go to work when they're sick, when their child's sick and all that stuff. They won't make excuses. They will find a way to go to work. And honestly, that I've taught that was a woman has pretty much shown that they don't make excuses. Like I've seen guys where, hey, I got a little burn on my arm, I got to go home for the day, and like, okay, she just like almost chopped off her finger. She's going back to work.
Right. Rub it in the dirt. You're
Yeah.
good.
So
You know what? That's just because women don't have the choice. You know what I mean? Like we have to keep going regardless. That's normal. That's funny that you actually say it that way. That's right. That's right. We're superhuman. So
I've seen there are some that make excuses, but not many that I've taught.
Mhm,
You know,
mhm.
It's just there's really no quit. And we got one here that she started last month, and she's been in the industry for a while, but she's staying after her every day. She's bringing her dog up here. She's finding a way to
Nice.
be here constantly. Like she'll be here right whenever I get here, and then when I leave at 4, she's up here till 8 working, and
Badass.
she's asking tons of questions, trying to learn everything because she's only here for a certain amount of time, and
Right.
she's going back to the field. And it's just, and that's the work ethic I like seeing. I want to see someone ask questions. You can ask any of these students. You got like 10 of my students in the comments. You can ask any of them. All I tell them to do is ask questions every single
You
day.
have to ask them. You
Yeah.
have to ask the questions.
Yeah.
I love that. Honestly, I think at least on the woman aspect, I did the same thing for college because I didn't have like, and I lived in the boonies, so that was part of it. You had to drive. It was like 120 miles a day to go to college. But there wasn't resources, like I didn't have buddies that had shops, and I didn't have someone that would teach me pipe welding, and I didn't. So I went before work, went after work, went in the middle of the day, went on my days off. I brought my extra pipe. I even was there when the instructor wasn't there because it school is very expensive for one, and you want to make the most of it. And I'm very competitive, so I want to beat all their asses. But that's neither here nor there. You kind of have to. I know people say we shouldn't do that, but you have to prove yourself a lot as a woman. And, like it's different. Guys go out there and you're basically born with that card. Like, here, he's probably going to learn how to weld. Me, I didn't even know that I wanted to know how to weld until I learned how to weld.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wasn't like, oh, it's just my dad did it or I had friends that did it. My buddies built cars. I didn't know it was going to work its way this way. I had no idea. I just thought I was going to be like an automotive girl. Who freaking knew I was going to be teaching some D1.1 and talking to, welding academies? No freaking way. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea. Like, so
Well,
women.
there's a spot for everyone. Even if
Totally.
even if people don't think that there's a spot for you, there's always one. So.
Dude, I can tell anybody, even if they're not, like, if this is not even on the spectrum of what they want to do in life, I can be like, what about ambassador? What about salesman? What about this? Like, I can get anybody to do it. I'm like, there's, just like you said, there's a place for everyone.
Well, that's where, like, whenever I sit them down and tour them and stuff, anyone, I ask them, I'm like, before you even get here, I said, you got like 2 weeks before you get here, you got a couple months before you get here, research the industry.
Yes.
You don't know exactly where you want to be in 10 years right now, but at least let's gear you somewhere. That's why I want to make sure that you can always customize any of these programs back here.
Yeah.
If you want to work on something very specific, let's work on it, but come with an idea.
Now, how did you come about figuring out the different programs that you offer? And let's talk about the ones that you offer. There's a bunch of people on here right now.
Well, with the programs, I kind of pieced together majority of what I've seen at other schools. Like when I worked at Tulsa, I worked at Arc Labs. I noticed that at both schools, they start with stick welding.
Sure.
And all of a sudden, I noticed that the students that grasped stick welding already had a natural hand with welding. The ones that didn't, that were really excited to get in the industry, didn't really grasp striking an arc, flipping on the hood at the same time and all that. And they kept sticking rods and they got hit. And 3 weeks into it, they're still sticking rods, and you saw that that hope just drain from their face.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, I hate this.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even get this stick to strike and make a perfect bead like that person right next to me. So I switched it instead of stick. I switched it to MIG and flux core first. We do,
Really?
Yep, we do plate and pipe. They do 2G, 3G, and 4G. I don't really teach 1G because if you can do all those, you should be able to handle 1G.
All right.
Test them on 1-inch plate and 6G pipe, all that, so that they're qualified in unlimited thickness and they're qualified in all positions. Then once they do that, then they go into my intermediate. Now we start stick welding, and I've seen a very good progress on this.
Mm-hmm.
Once they pass the MIG and flux core, it's extremely easy for them to strike an arc instantly whenever they get to stick welding. And they
Yes.
already know how to do proper fit. They already know how to prep up their material, cut, and all that stuff. So they're not working from the basics anymore. Then we go to TIG welding over here, where they do their. I don't really teach TIG on plate, like thicker plate. And we go straight to pipe. They do padding, then 2G, then 5G, then 6G. Then we go to combo. Then we go to actual stainless steel and all that, if they get to that point. And then we go to advanced pipe and advanced structural and all that. That's where we try to customize it. That's where they can, if they say, hey, I want a pipeline, awesome. You're going to go on that hinge driven. We're going to learn how to run some, we're going to learn how to do some downhill, some branch cutouts, all this different stuff. Or we can go to the high frequency area where we can do fabrication. You can build something if you want. We got exhaust piping. We got angle iron. We got all this stuff. Let me teach you aluminum. Let me teach you stainless. Let me teach you titanium. And let me teach you pie cuts and all that stuff and how to purge properly. Because when you get to the high frequency area, it's a whole different ball game than all that that stick, the TIG, and all that stuff, the heavy pipe. You have to be more precise with this. How you sharpen your tungsten is crucial. How you prep your material is crucial. How your fit is, everything, what your amps are, what your backing, post low, all that. So it's a whole different ball game than just beating the shit out of a pipe and getting a weld in there.
If you actually look at your comments right now, I encourage you guys, if you are looking to get into welding, just read the comments. All I'm seeing is, look, Scotty's the bomb. Scotty's superior. Scotty's TIG is mesmerizing. Like, you have definitely a fan club, my friend. That's very impressive. That's why I keep laughing. All these comments that are coming in. If you guys are looking to get into welding, please read these comments. These are awesome. And that's a very good indicator of where you should be going to school, right there. I love
it. They're all good students. These guys, can't believe you guys are in on a Friday night.
They need to hear your story, though. You know what? It's actually, they probably don't see a lot of this. You know, they don't hear like the backstory of why and where it came from and where you worked and the intricacies of building a school. You know, how long was it before you actually got to the point where you're able to open the doors?
Well, it was an idea for about 4 years. I pretty much started thinking about it and actually putting forth the effort to build, well, I didn't build the school. We rented this building, but honestly, finding that building took me about 6 months. There was just so many, there's so many factors. Every single school we looked at or building we looked at, there was no parking. There wasn't the right electricity. It was in a terrible area. All this different stuff. So honestly, getting the building was the toughest part, especially whenever they were trying to gouge you for rent and all that stuff. I probably started thinking about the process and going, this is going to be a for sure thing. It literally was going from maybe to nope, this has to happen. You know, that's why, you know, one of my sayings is always bet on yourself, because I had to be full in. I had to do this. If I wasn't going to be full in, then why even start it? Why not just do it on my side where I could just do one or two students every now and then? So it was about February, March that I started looking for a building, and then I quit Arc Labs after Fab Tech in November. And I sat here for roughly 14 hours a day building the booths, getting it set up and all that stuff, and waiting and just sitting here all day until a student would just walk in.
I remember this.
Yeah,
I remember this.
I'm just sitting here, pictures of Toby, just him walking around, him sleeping, and I'm just sitting here, and everyone's like, why don't you go home? Why don't you? I'm like, because a student could walk in, and they're like, it's 8 o'clock at night, and I said, I don't care, could walk in.
Right.
We had a business plan where, and we kind of just said, you know, when we start, we'll have 2 students. That was our max. We're like, you know, we'll probably get just 2 students in the door, and, you know, then the next month we might add 1 more and all this. And it was just, we were just we were expecting a slow start. And then right whenever I posted on social media, because I couldn't post it until I quit Arc Labs, they were going to hit me with a non-compete as well. That was, but like the day after I posted that I was opening PWA, I sat here and the first student walked in and he goes, "Yep, well, sign me up for January 20th." I was like, "Fuck yeah!" And I'm
Hell
like,
yeah.
and then I sat here for a week, no students. I'm just like, "Fuck, man, that was a fluke."
Yeah.
All of a sudden, another student came in, then another, and I was like, "Holy!"
Did you really have that moment where you were like, what the hell was I thinking?
No, honestly, it felt right, and
Good.
I had that moment with my dad because my dad's extremely old school. He would not talk to me about this school at all because I was leaving a good job. I was leaving a job that paid health insurance, all this different stuff, and he was like, I could give my dad a heart attack like millions of times when I was. I would quit a job just when they'd raise. And he's like, they have 401k, and I'm like, I don't give a fuck.
Right.
I was like, it's mentally draining. I don't want to do this.
Right.
Um,
You're all, and I'm gonna cash in and help pay for the school. It is what it is.
yeah. So when I actually said I'm going to do this, when I told myself I'm going to do this, I never even looked back, never doubted it, because honestly, I had this conversation with a person. They're like, you never doubted yourself, did you? And I said, no, it gets overwhelming because I have to wear like 50 million hats, but
I bet.
It's worth it because you gotta, if you can't believe in yourself and your work ethic, then who else is going to?
Your students won't believe in you.
Yeah, you have to have that mentality that no matter what, it's going to work.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people were like, well, what are you going to do if it doesn't? And I said, well, fuck my house. I'll sell my house. I got a room upstairs.
Right, right.
And
I love that.
And that's literally what I was going to do.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, you serious? And I said, yeah, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to be all in. If it's going to fail, it's going to fail, and I'm going to start over and just be at square one, and I'm going to fucking go back. I can always go back to well. No matter what, my arm's going to always work. So it was just, it just felt right.
Well, and you seem to be constantly reinventing yourself. I watched, like, it went from a few booths to more machines, to the man basket, to, other things that are not, out there yet. But so, like, where do you come, what point do you get to when you're like, it's time, like you've maxed out capacity with students coming into your school and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna bring in a few more machines, even though you have to pay for basically the overhead until they pay for themselves. You know what I mean? Like, when do you get to that point? Because you've seemed to have had several of them.
It's more whenever, if all of a sudden we have a good month and then we reinvest money back into the facility and we kind of look, how many students are we going to have? How many booths, booths that still need to be outfitted? Then would be perfect. The cost of that, and we go, when do we really need that? And I'm like, well, we haven't even gone into this row. So what we thought about was, when we get a good amount of money that month, we put it right back into the school. What do we need to fix? What do we need to update? Like, I got a whole list of stuff that I want.
Yeah.
And that list is going to keep growing because we're always going to need something.
How the hell do you come up with your ideas? Like, I'm actually talking about the man basket that you just, was it in, I don't even know what freaking month or was it in November that you got this? You did that?
Yeah, something like that. I'm seeing my memories on Facebook are coming up lately, and it's like yesterday it was the start of PWA Simulator. So it was right about now. That one was a collab with me and Nick. I'm gonna butcher his last name. I'll just flip it around. Nick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna butcher his last name, but he
Nick
sent
B. I won't even try it either. Sorry, guy.
Thanks, Nubs. He said he sent me a picture and he said, dude, this would be cooler, cool kind of simulator. You know, here's an idea, kind of run with it. And I kept thinking about it. I'm like, well, how am I going to make it bounce? How am I going to make it shift? How am I going to do all this different stuff? And I'm still thinking about ideas because when I post it on social media, people keep saying it's not proper. It's not this. It needs to be moving more. But
Right.
honestly, if you get up there and you start welding, it shakes pretty well. But I was like, what about springs?
Right.
Round springs can hold a good amount of weight. Let's just go with that. And I had to do my research on springs and figuring that out. And I got one that was like this long, 3 feet long, and I couldn't even use it because the basket was going to hit the ground. So I kept doing the research, and I finally found these little porch springs, and they hold 600 pounds each.
Oh,
So
wow.
like, let's do it.
Yeah, whoever this is, Huncho Welds, hell yeah, it shakes. Did you get scared? Because it's scary up there. I'm just saying. Hell yeah, it shakes. I love these. Have to be all your students, huh? There's a ton of them on here. That's
Yeah.
cool.
One little, he's got his name mixed up in there. Giggly, he's one of mine. Huncho, Roy, yeah, they're all mine.
So I just saw that underwater. I saw you tried underwater welding. I'm very jealous. I've never even had the opportunity. I think I was at a car show in Missouri when they were going to ask me, so I'm kind of bummed. Any possibility of bringing that to the school? Am I allowed to ask that? I don't care. I'm going to ask it.
We've looked at it. It could be a possibility. We can't do much right now while we're going through accreditation. So, but I have a ton of ideas for the future. That's where I made a story a few days ago. What pushes me in this, and it's more what can I bring to the school that can be a one-stop shop welding for anyone.
Yeah.
And so it's been thought about. It's been looked at possibly. What could we do in about 2 to 5 years? So, never know.
Please invite me to come do it. That's the one thing I maxed out from college. I'm old as hell. So obviously in a college situation, you cannot do it. You have to be younger and you have to have your 2-year diving. And then, the school I was going to go to was in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And I was already old as hell. So I didn't have the opportunity. And then I saw you doing it. What was it, like 6 months ago? And I was like, oh, I know he's like my age. Oh, I want to do it. So one day.
It was really fun, but I almost wasn't able to do it. I'm not very claustrophobic, but the hood on me, the helmet on me, it was at this setting where every time you took a breath, it would shoot air into your mouth, oxygen. And I was like,
oh,
breathing heavily, and it kept just hitting me. And I'm like, I can't do this. If this is how I'm like fighting for air.
Right.
So, I kind of took it off, and I was like, I can't do this. I was like,
yeah.
This is happening. I was like, I want to do it. And he goes, well, just turn that switch on the end and let's see. It'll have constant airflow. Let's see if that works. And put it back on, did that. And I was like, okay, I'm fine. I was this close to not being able to do it. But it was really fun. I only got to do it for a little bit. I think I got my shitty weld up here. So this is my T-joint.
Whoa.
I did better on the other side. That one was pretty good.
Yeah.
Don't look at that one, but my lap joint.
Yeah.
And there's my overlap. I did pretty good. This was what I first started with, and I said, oh, this shit's easy.
Uh-huh.
And then I did a T-joint, and it turned out like trash.
So you're going too fast.
You have to have that rod pushing onto that plate and scrape it the whole time. Anytime you get any kind of water in it, it would just destroy. So that's where all that slag and debris came from.
Well, and I imagine the refraction too with the water. Like you have to it's not just an overnight thing that you're going to learn how to do that. You know what I mean? It looked crazy. You're like, I can't even see it. I remember because I was like commenting like crazy, like, oh my God. But how do you even see it? You know what I mean?
Oh, I did one in the tub where there's a tub that I put the water. Couldn't see that, but when I actually went underwater, they have a little filter. You can see everything perfect.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
so badass, man.
That one, no, you can't see shit.
Yeah. Oh well, still cool opportunity. And honestly, I think it's cool to see schools that have a little bit more diversity within them. Why not? It's funny because a lot of schools I know, they will send them out of house to go finish up their school. Like, oh, here's your intro 101. Go and do, a more specified type of welding.
Yeah.
Do this. So it's nice to be like, eventually on your part, if you try to bring everything in house, that would be very cool.
Mm-hmm.
What about automotive building? What you got on that one? Chassis. Come on, car girl.
It plans, honestly. So,
I'm just fucking with you. So, how long did it take you to learn the fast cut?
pretty good amount of time, probably about 2 to 3 weeks to get basic. That
Yeah.
was that was probably it. I had to keep calling Charlie and Russ and all them stuff to and all them guys to kind of get ideas. And I tried to learn Ben Tech. That's one of the files on there. That's one of the programs. And I tried to learn AutoCAD. I couldn't do any of those.
Really?
I need a lot more time on that. I think James Flatman's going to try to show me how to do that.
Oh,
But
hi, James.
they have a what is it? En route. En route is for the artist and all that stuff. You have a lot. It's a lot easier, more basic. So I did that. I've learned that one pretty well, and it took me about 3 weeks to get decent at that one.
So, are you cutting out coupons to do like projects for the students over there with them?
No, they cut out all their own stuff.
Oh, really? You
Yeah.
taught them. This is very cool. That's what I was just teasing this on my stories. I'm like, I'm just gonna bug him so he invites me so I can learn that machine. I just want to come over and build a dream catcher. It is what it is.
It's right over here.
I know. Yeah.
If they want to
It's Houston. How many times have we had this conversation? Like, I'm gonna tell you what, you guys. If I had the opportunity to go to Scott's school, even now, I would go. Like that, just because you don't have the opportunity to be around people who are like-minded. And I had the shittiest teaching. Like when I first started, I was literally handed a MIG gun and told it to do no instruction, just basically me being shop girl and watching and doing all the other work except for the welding, and here, do it. So like to actually have a legit teacher, I'm probably the worst student ever, but just to have that, I totally would. And you have like the coolest machines ever. So
That was pretty good. They give us a little problem on 6010s, but if you can get everything spot on, like the fit, the gap, the landing, everything, they run it smooth. But if you have anything off, it fights you all day.
oh, look at Welding. I should, while I'm in town, go there. Go there. I have a girlfriend that's going into town. She's going to a welding competition right now. She's one of the instructors.
Okay.
Let me see. We have a whole people all over the world right now on here right now. Let's see. I have a whole list. I gotta go over it. Give me a minute. Backstory helping students. Oh, that was one of the other things. You are constantly teaching us. You know this, right? Like I have like your tutorials in my phone for my students because it's such a lackadaisical program. Sometimes like the machine will be down or something's not updated or whatever, and I'll be like, all right, what has it got for some 60 pipe? Hold on, let me play a tutorial. I have them in my phone for my own students right now.
Okay.
If you're not doing that, you're posting pictures about your students or you're talking about new innovative ways to be like fresh in your school. Like seriously, I wish this is the whole point of me bringing you onto this, so I could show not only women but just people what it's like to have a good quality and like supportive education. You know what I mean? I wish more colleges would model themselves after you.
Well, and a lot of it, and it's more of my personality is I don't like sitting down. I don't like everything being the same every single day.
Sure.
My mind's constantly going, and it's just me taking a chance on, is this going to work? Is this going to actually teach him something?
Right.
Go with it. And if it doesn't work, then we scrap it. But at least the idea was out there and we tried it. There's so many ideas that I've put out there that I'm like, well, let's see if it works. And then all of a sudden, I have to fight with it to get it to do something. And then I'm like, all right, well, out of that, something else came from it. Like the new project we're working on right now is a pain in the ass.
Right.
That every day, and we're this close to getting it done, but one little weather hiccup can.
That's not a little hiccup.
So
Hoping you were going to say it this week. I was like, yes, yes, that would be super cool.
we're close. I'm trying to get a company out to kind of help me fix it and all that stuff. I had one guy come in and drop something off, and he said, "Hey, we could probably help you fix it for like $75." And I was like, "Do it. Let's come in Monday. Let's get it knocked out." So I'm hoping next week I'm going to get some tarps and stuff, kind of cover it.
Don't say it, you guys. I could see. Don't say it. You see the comments coming through? Students of Scott, don't say it. I could see all your little emojis right now. Shh. Little brats.
It's hard for me to keep stuff secret because I'm like, man, I need to do it. But then I'm like, but let's just wait. Let's just kind of wait. Let's make sure that we get it spot on and then get it out there. And it's just something that maybe other schools have thought about and they never did it, but now this gives them an idea to do it. Like I thought once I did that basket, every school would have it. So far, no school has done it. And I'm like, but why?
Well, I mean, not that I'm trying to like suck ass or nothing, but that was actually one of the first things that I loved about Arkansas Elite is when I went there in, I think it was 2017. I think they had just started. They had been around for about 6 months. And I wanted to go to just a dedicated pipe welding program. And they had a simulator. And I was like, that is very cool, because not everybody's going to have the opportunity to work inside of a shop. And that's just not, you're not going to be out in a shop. You're going to be in the elements. And Arkansas is the worst. It's cold, it's raining, it's freezing, there's snow, there's mud. So to have the simulator, I was like, this is smart. You know what I mean? Like, I appreciate that type of experience. And not even just for myself, just to see it for other students. Like, this is the way it should be. And when I saw the man basket, I was like, look at this. Like, I start seeing a few more places that are having them. So I think it's really smart.
Yeah, the problem is like when I worked at Arc Labs, they had all their students cut their own material and all that stuff, and I was like, awesome, love that. That's how I was taught. I had to cut every single thing myself. The only thing we didn't really cut was pipe. They had one guy that just sat there and cut it because they got tired of buying pipe bevelers.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of understand. I see the problem with that, but then all of a sudden, Arc Lab said no students cutting any kind of material ever again, and I'm like, but why?
Why?
I was like, you're kind of handicapping them, and the owner said because I guess some instructor told him one day, he goes, well, I like your curriculum, but I see that they're cutting. He said, are you guys making plate cutters or are you making welders? And the owner said, nope, never again. They're never touching another torch. So then they started machining all their own stuff, and I'm like, it helps them get better at welding, but welding is that much of the. You got fitting, you got layout, you got blueprint reading, you've got prep, you got all these different aspects that lead into the actual weld. And if you can get all those spot on, then you got a solid weld. The weld will literally almost weld itself if all those are perfect. And that's what I try to teach my students is if their fit and their prep is shit, they're going to fight that weld all day. And they've seen it. But if they let me show them or any of my instructors show them how to properly make it happen, and then they learn from that, then they are always set up.
Well, and on top of that, too, there's a lot of those soft skills that students don't necessarily have access to when they go into these welding programs. I think a lot of them see these very glamorous or very cool people on social media, and they come in and they just think that they're going to weld. They don't know how to use a tape measure. They don't know how to use tools. Their arms are not even strong enough to hold a torch for any length of time or a heavy lead, or they don't know how to use a grinder. So those are things that need to be taught too. the whole package. Like if you're gonna go out and you have some idea that you're gonna be a rig welder and you don't know how to read a damn tape, or your arms are not strong enough to do this or that, what's the point? It's not just, like you said, it's not just welding, you know? That I could see like the hood time is good time, but like, was that person even a welder? Like there's so many different other aspects that you have to learn as well.
Oh yeah, and my students have full reign of the shop,
Love
so I'm from like 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. They're more than welcome to stay all day.
it.
Uh, whatever time they paid for their 1,200 hours. That's what they paid for. Anything extra is just that extra. And I try to encourage them, stay after an hour,
Mm-hmm.
prep stuff for the next day, so you get that full 8 hours, you get that full 5 hours, because our night shift goes 5 hours a day of just weld time. But what do you really have to do after 3:30? Do you really have to go home and sit on your couch and watch TV?
Right, right.
I know that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, right. No, you don't. Do you even sleep?
I'm getting a lot more sleep now lately, but yeah, I used to. It was for a couple of years. It was about 4 to 5 hours, possibly.
You're what? Just over 2 years? Have you hit the 2 year mark yet?
On the school, we'll hit the 2 year mark of me sitting here at this desk November.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's crazy, dude, already. I can't even. Yeah, because you were starting this right when I started my teaching position at the college. So, oh, that's fucking crazy. Time flies, man.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Congratulations on that. Like I've been a huge supporter. I just because I can see the personality, it's like you can just tell that you actually care. You know what I mean? I've had so many horror stories of people who come in and they've taken this class or that class, or they've paid that much school, just like myself. And it was just bad instructors, people that don't care, going through. I don't care if you're even going through a divorce. I've gone through a divorce and I still made my way, like those things. If you're going to be teaching a body, a group of people, you're going to have to set those things aside. I imagine with you wearing all the damn hats that you wear, you're still getting all these students that are like loving you, like it. You're not only just teaching, you're building curriculums, you're keeping it new and fresh, you're worried about the overhead, you have to take care of your family, like all the hats.
Mhm. It can weigh on you. It's more about time management.
Sure.
I'm trying to separate more work from home life now. I couldn't do that the first like pretty much until the 2 year mark,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to tell my girlfriend that that's what's going to happen. Like, I understand if you can't handle it, and I completely accept that. But if you can handle it and just stay there with me for a little bit, it's gonna pay off. I'm gonna get past this. But the first year or two is extremely crucial. The first year is crucial because you have to get your name out there. You have to get that quality, the reviews, everything out there, and build up that reputation. The second year is holding that, and then what do you do next, and then
Right.
build that up. And
Right.
then by that time you should have employees that you can start, kind of divvying the workload and all that stuff, and then you can kind of take a little bit more step back, and then now you can look at what can you do out there, what can you build next, what can you do to benefit the students while the other people are helping out instructing a little bit more. And then that's pretty much it, and then I can take a step back. I used to have to work till pretty much 11 every day, 7 to 11 every day.
Damn it, dude. But worth it. You know what? Worth
Yeah.
it. And thank you, because there's actually now, it seems like, and I don't know who jocks who, but like you're my go-to when I'm looking for someone to send, if I want a place to send one of my students, I'm like, talk to Scott, go to Scott's. And I don't even care. I know we're like, what, 1,800 miles away or so. I don't even care. Just because there's not that many options. And I've watched it from day one. I've watched, so I know the progression and I can see what people are saying. And then look at what they're saying right now. Like your students absolutely love you. And that goes a long way. I feel comfortable referring people to go to your school just because I've seen like from day one you've only grown and evolved and flourished, and it's like it's an amazing thing now. So it's nice to see that there's actual good places out there right now, not just somebody trying to get built
Okay.
go or, make a dime.
Yeah, and social media is,
Uh,
quality of work has grown huge. Everyone hates social media. They talk bad about social media, but I've seen welds in the past that look like dog shit. But the quality that I see now are so much higher because people want that. They want to be known for their work, and social media has made it. That's one of the biggest benefits of social media is work ethic on that, and pride in the work has grown immensely. And I see that with education as well. There's a bunch of teachers that are going from welding to education because that's where their passion is now, and then the education is now growing. But yeah, back in the day, 15 years ago, probably not there. There were probably there's instructors that didn't give a shit. They're still there now, but
there's a lot.
yeah, they're starting to get weeded out. But
Bob said, Bob Moffat said, bucket list item, attend a full day at Scott's facility, show up early, stay late, ask questions, all the questions. Let's go.
yeah,
We were talking about you last night. That's funny. What the hell was I going to ask you next? Oh, you were just talking about accreditation. So we love your school. We've seen all the pictures. We're ready to join your program.
mm-hmm.
How do we get in?
Well, right now it's pretty much you just come tour. One of the requirements of the TWC, the Texas Workforce Commission, that approved our school is they have to come in and tour. They have to see the facility. Which, no matter what, I wouldn't want you here anyway if you didn't tour.
Mm-hmm.
We can virtual tour, we can do something, but I want to talk to you about the school. So one rule is you got to come in and tour. Next rule is we go over what your goals are, what do you want to do. I bring up the list of programs, the courses, everything, and I go over everything with them. And we try to pick what works best for them. If the 1,200 hour, the $19,000 program doesn't work for them, it's not a problem. I don't want you to overpay for stuff that you don't need.
Right.
If fundamentals works for you, which is 7,500, and that is a lot cheaper, and it's a little bit faster and all that, and that works best for you, and you get exactly what you need from it, perfect. Let's sign you up for that. At the moment, we are a cash school. We do have one loan company. It's a hit and miss on if people can get approved for it, but we pretty much 100% of our students are going through a cash payment right now. They do a percentage down, 25 or 50% down, and then we spread their payments out throughout their time.
That's cool.
If they want to get done faster, it's going to be a little bit more pricey because they go to day shift, 40 hours a week, and so they're finished faster. But if they want to spread out their payments and get that lower payment, go to night shift. We go double the time. So with day shift, my longest program's about 9 months. On night shift, it's 15. So
Now, they can also get private loans because you don't have that type of funding yet. I know I keep asking. I'm like, do you got funding? I swear to God, Scott, I'm going to go to your school. I don't even care. I have been talking to you probably about this almost 2 years now. Like, I need the funding, but how close are you to getting funding?
That certificate that I posted yesterday,
mm-hmm.
that is step 5. Step 5 or 6 of getting our COE accreditation.
Mm-hmm.
So we went with that. We submitted. Step 1 was just submitting the application to see if we are even approved to even start the process. Then it was. Then we had to submit our curriculum. We had to submit our catalog, all that different stuff, financials, everything. Then they approved that. Once they approved that, then they scheduled a tour of the school. That was one day. They came in. It was supposed to be an all-day tour. They came in for an hour, looked at it, and said, "This place is awesome. Head out." And then they sent that certificate. Certificate said we are good to continue on. Our facility is solid. Our curriculum solid from what they've seen. We're good to go. Now the next process is I have to attend a conference for a week. Then do a self-study. A self-study is everything that we do in the school, and like it's like that big that we have to write a book on this whole school. Once we do that, we send it in to them to review. They have 60 to 90 days to review. If that is solid, then we do 2 more walkthroughs. 2 more walkthroughs means that they're going to come in, check out the school, and then that's going to be the preliminary walkthrough. If that goes good, then they schedule the next one 30 days later. If that goes good, then they have a vote to put us into accreditation. So accreditation, if we hit all of our due dates, can happen next September. And then,
Holy moly! Damn.
and
What, Texas, do you guys just not like welding schools or what? That's for all schools, I'm assuming.
if any school wants to be accredited, they have to wait 2 years
Mm-hmm.
and then go through this process. And
Wow.
it's about a 2-year process. Year and a half, 2 years, yeah.
You
So,
must be one hell of a patient man. I would be like gnawing at the, like gnawing at the bit, like, oh my God.
well, right now we're doing pretty good. We've got about 38 students. So we're doing awesome. We pretty much tripled what we started with and all that.
Yeah.
So I'm not rushing it. I wanted to grow slowly. I didn't want to grow instantly to have 180 students in here because that's just an ungodly amount of number. And it's really hard to control. I want to stay. We have 40 students booths, 40 booths. I want to stay around that with 10 instructors per row. Well, with 5, that I want an instructor per row, which makes it 1 to 10 ratio. So
Right. Perfect.
yeah. So we're doing pretty good. We are applying for VA in January. You have to wait 2 years for VA. Everything 2 years. So we hit the 2-year mark in January of classes going.
Cool.
And we should have, so VA will keep carrying us, hopefully, the next, till accreditation. But then once we get accredited, you have to apply for Title IV FAFSA. Anywhere from 4 months up to a year. So, yeah, it's going to be it's going to be a little bit more time. But that's why it's just a waiting game.
Yeah.
Made it this far. Nothing's been too crazy. We're just slowly growing until we get there.
So once you get everything settled financial wise for people to join your school, what about another school?
That's in the plan.
And hold up, in California.
That's going to be California is not a very, from what I'm seeing, it's not a good place for-profit schools. I'm going to have to do a lot more research on that, but from what I've been told, I got to do a lot more research because I've only been told by like 2 people. California kind of pushes out for profit. So, but one of the plans was to put a school in certain states, and so we're going to get this school built to what we want, be the pretty much mainly the blueprint for all the others. Once we get this school built exactly how we want, then we're going to branch. Where we're going to branch is we have no idea. So
well, California freaking needs you. I'm telling you, all the programs either here, they're either lacking or there's no support, because vocational programs are like the gum on the bottom of your shoe out here. It's not the glamorous job that everybody is gunning for, but it's like, I'm going to tell you what. I was in real estate investment, and the first house that I sold, I made $320,000. Very good money. I was 24 years old. Okay. That's sick money, right? Hated the job, hated the work. You know what I really wanted to do? I wanted to learn that one trade, which was welding. And I didn't even know like 10 years down the line where it would be. But there's still not a place that I'd be like, yep, that's where I would want to learn here in California. Now, there's some people I would love to train with or work with or collab with or whatever. But in California, it's not like, it's not that people don't do it, because there's plenty of welders out here, but there's people that just have no idea because there's a lack of instruction. It's just it's a bad program, or there's a lack of organization, or because it's not welder run, they don't have the knowledge. You know what? One of the classes I actually taught, I had no gas, no metal, and I was bringing stuff from like Weiler is sending me stuff and people are sending me stuff because I didn't have things. And I was
Yeah.
thinking, if this was my own facility, there's no freaking way. But because they don't know the importance of certain things, because it's just $1 to them, they don't care. There's all these other classes and they can tell the community that, yes, we provide vocational programs or we provide a welding program. It sounds so glamorous, but there's no support.
Yep.
It seems to be like that at every college. I don't care how. I've talked to everybody at every school, like no joke. Like I have my hand on the pulse here in California. It sucks. I'm sorry, guys, it does, but it sucks.
Well,
And
thing at here, we have a Lone Star College that's around here, and like the students that come from there say, they didn't teach me anything. They told me that I can't go uphill with flux core. I have to always go downhill. And I'm like, whoa,
what?
yeah. And it's just like, it's because the people that run it glorify, the white collar. So they just give you the bare minimum for the blue collar stuff. And yeah, it is going to be cheaper. If you go to a college, it's going to be cheaper. I think I think you can go through the Lone Star welding program for like $5,000.
Oh,
But
here.
yeah, but what benefit are you going to get from there? What are you going to actually learn? And that's where it comes from doing your research.
Right.
Yeah, you can go cheaper at a community college and all that, but it's not welder owned. It's not welder ran.
It's important. I know Mount San Antonio probably has one of the better programs because it's welder run and they give him a little bit more leeway, and I love that. Mr. G, I just had him on a couple weeks ago and he's amazing. But has nothing to do with him being the instructor. It's the organization. That's the bigger picture. And he's not in control of a lot of that, like budgets and politics and blah, blah, where you are in control of that because a guy. I mean, hello, it's your school. You know what I mean? So I think like really bridging the gap when, we keep hearing that term, it's basically in these smaller schools who have this really ideal blueprint, from someone who has heart, someone who knows what they're doing, has like tried and everything's tried and tested and it works. It's a smart package. You know what I mean? Like I hope for California's sake, like eventually we could see something like that over here.
And yeah, I've had a lot of people say, "Hey, I want your school here. I want your," and I'm like, "You gotta give me time. It'll happen. I don't know where we're going, but the school's going to branch. No matter what, that is one of the goals. Is this school to continue to branch?"
Well, it's gonna have to. You're gonna evolve. You know what I mean? Like that's the whole point. Maybe you didn't necessarily see the bigger picture or how fast it's going to be, but that's the whole point though. At the end of the day, I mean, you want to create good qualified welders and you're doing it, and people are going to want that because if people are asking you, there's clearly a need for it, right?
Oh yeah,
There is. It's all over across the freaking world. We just need more women in there, Scott, so we're going to work on that. We got to work on that.
yeah. I was like, when they come in, I show them it. They just don't sign up. But I did have a high school student. She toured yesterday. She said no matter what, she's coming here whenever she's graduating. Yeah. She said that she comes in. She places every time she goes to the competitions.
Love it.
So I think she probably has a scholarship or two from here. I don't know, but she said she's going to come here. She's going to go to the night shift, work during the day because she wants a welding job during the day, and she's going to be here. So it's growing. It's slow, but.
No, I'm just giving you hell. It's my job. Come on, that's what I do. No, and you know what? It's visibility. You're new in its inception, so you have all these things, and you don't necessarily see it. I see it from the outside looking in, just because this is just a huge issue across the board. It has nothing to do with you. You know what I mean? You're like, I'm barely just trying to get the students in, Tiffany. Knock it off. No, and I get that, but of course, it wouldn't be me if I didn't ask the question. And if she's going to be at your school, highlight her, please, so I can have her all over my pages because it's so important for the visibility as a woman. You know what I mean? I didn't see it when I was coming up in the ranks. And the only reason why we see it now is because of social media. Colleges, there's 3 I'm working with right now. They all have the issue with female retention. So it's not like social media is still not helping, you know, like we know because we all know each other and we're all nosy and we all want to see what everybody's doing. But when it comes in terms of the women aspect, it's still like, you know, a very novel idea. It really is.
Boy, I see it all the time, but every single one that I've worked with, solid workers. There was only one that it was at my first job where she just every excuse in the book, and it just didn't look like she really wanted to be there. And I think she got forced into the trade, and it was, but majority have been nothing but the hardest workers in the room.
Well, and that's going to be with male and female. There's always going to be somebody. I personally couldn't imagine like not enjoying welding. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know, you have a bad day and there's going to be shit that challenges you, but like not do it. Come on now. You know, like there's something else you could be like advocate. You can, you know, be an ambassador. You could design. You could be an engineer. Like not be in the industry. Get the heck out of here. You know, there's something for everybody here.
Oh yeah. Well, it's just like anything. There's always that good and bad. It doesn't matter if you're male or female. There's going to be those lazy workers that they know how to do it. They just don't want to do it, or they'll do the bare minimum.
Right.
It's just personality traits. So
Well, and it's work ethic. So that's what also I have to congratulate you on because you're not only teaching and you're qualifying them in a really, really excellent way, but you're showing them like this intense work ethic that they're going to take with them into the field. You know what I mean? So you have to at least applaud yourself for that as well. Like you don't you don't get that from like a regular college course or somebody who doesn't have, you know, more skin in the game like yourself, because I mean this is your livelihood right here, right? So you're gonna give it your all, and so when they go out in the field, best believe all these students that are coming through, you can just tell like they're gonna emulate your behavior out in the field, which is awesome. We need to see that more.
oh yeah, and it was just like I had one student. His cousin's on night shift or something, and I guess his cousin doesn't clean the booth. And he said,
Brat.
he's like, since my cousin doesn't clean, I'm gonna stop cleaning my booth. And you know, one of the biggest reasons I made this sticker was because I noticed that one of my workers was like, you know, he was starting to slack off because of someone else, and
Yeah.
I was, you can't let someone else's work ethic dictate your own.
Yeah.
Let them dig their own grave. Work your hardest. Make sure that you're known. No matter what, your name is going to carry everything.
Yeah. That's so funny that you say that. One of the first times I had to go when I was taking on the new teaching job, there was a lady in there and she had to do some finish work and it wasn't the best welds, you know, it wasn't great at all. And I was like, just finish it. Don't let it sit there. And she was like, what? And I was like, no, you finish that. I said, as a woman, I'm not too happy about that weld. I said, but as a woman, especially, you make sure that if somebody sees that, they're going to know not only is that a beautiful finished weld, even if it didn't look so great, as a woman, you have to. You have no choice. You can't just sit there and just be complacent and lackadaisical about things. You have to take that extra effort because your name is going to follow you. Trust me.
Yeah. And we're with social media and welders just being a tight knit.
Thanks, Bob.
Oh, whose work is it? If every time you go on a job, you're failing 10 x-rays and then you're always going to the next job, your name's going to be drugged through the mud. But if you're always putting in work, if you're always on time, if you're always passing x-rays, if you're able to fix your fuck ups,
Yeah.
you're carry on. If you clean the bathroom when the work is slow and you're not complaining, that's going to go noticed.
Yes.
Making the same money, they're not docking your pay, but I've known so many welders that they go, hey, can you sweep? Can you paint? Can you go clean the bathroom a little bit? We got no work today, but we need to make sure that you look busy. They're like, no, just send me home. And it's like, dude, you're not. Like, that's a terrible mentality to have. You're
Yes.
not getting docked, and it's not going to kill you. I don't know. I have to work. That's one of my biggest things is I've been asked by a lot of people, will you ever retire? And I'm like, I don't know if I can. It's just, even if I can't really come up here and be here every day, I'm going to do something that keeps me going because I love working. That's the whole reason why I do this. This is my hobby as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I mean, you know what? Honestly, that's probably one of the first things I tell people is to like learn how to sweep the floor first.
Yeah.
Literally in life and in the shop or wherever you're at. Seriously, like, because you have to know the lows of the lows before you can like really enjoy the highs of the highs, right? Like you absolutely have to. That's how I started in the shop. I was literally handing a wrench and sweeping a floor. And then a year and a half later I owned the shop because there's nothing that stops me. You know what I mean? And you have to learn that. It's not like you're gonna come in, and we all know this. Welders are badass. As soon as they put that beautiful bead that first time, it's what, maybe 4 to 5 weeks in, maybe the first week, they think they're badass, and that's all they need to do is weld. Now they're gonna challenge you. You know, it's that ego thing. Every single welder I have seen come across, and I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
weld better than me. Do it left-handed. Do it under the table, out of position, you know, like let's go do it outside, you know. Like,
Yeah.
I'll challenge them. It's that you have to remain humble and know like where you started, you know what I mean? It's very important.
Oh yeah.
Hey Missy, I love it. All right, I want to also know, I have 2 questions because I know we already went way over. I'm sorry, it's super late. I have a question. Somebody asked, what's one of the favorite projects you've ever welded up? It doesn't even have to be welded up. It could be help create, design, build, whatever the heck it is. One of your most favorite projects.
Oh no. One of my I would say probably it wasn't really a project. It was just a job. I ran like what was it? It was just it was like 26 a 20-foot pipe into the ground or so casing pipe
Mm.
there because the guy said it'll be a 4-hour job. They're gonna pay you like $1,600 to do it, and I was like, yeah.
Done.
And I got out there, and I'm asking the guys, I'm like, hey, apparently you don't ask the guy that's in the white truck because they don't know shit. That's what I was told. And I got in the white truck, and he's like, I think you just welded that shit over there. And so I'm looking, I'm like, how do I get these pipes together? I ain't got no crane. And the guy came up, he goes, no, you just weld this stuff to it. And it's just something to hold on that strap. And then they drag that pipe up right over your head. And the whole time I'm just thinking, I'm like, I just ran one pass over that to hold that. And I'm like, please don't break. Because that thing is fucking killing us all. And all of a sudden they just slam it into the ground. And then they fit it up. And then you have to jump in there and just weld it up. It is raining, muddy, all this. And I was told 4 hours of work for $1,600, and I was like, fuck, damn, that's good money. I get there, and the guy said, we have to get all this pipe into the ground today. And I was like, it's like 8 in the morning. I can't get all this stuff done. He goes, yeah, you're not leaving till it's done. I was there till I think it was about 11 at night, just running this pipe, and I didn't bring any gloves, like rubber gloves or anything. So every time I'm putting the stick in the stick singer, I'm fucking getting shocked. And I got to put in the 60-10 root and then a 70 cap on top. And then they slam it in the ground, and then I have to jump in, and I'm just covered in mud. Sentinel hood just trash. And then I'm just getting shocked. The only thing keeping me up is getting electrocuted every other pass.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And I look at this guy, and he's smoking like 3 packs of cigarettes since I've been there. And I look over, and there's a pile of Bang Energy piled up. And I'm like, man, how long have you guys been out here? He's like, we've been 16 to 18-hour days for about 6 weeks now. And I was like, he's like, that's all us. And I'm like, wow. That was a good experience because it just, you appreciate it. Just seeing, I don't know, I'm one of those types that I want to do everything. I see people, I hate heights, but I see these guys welding over skyscrapers up above the city, and I'm like, I just want to go do it.
Yeah.
I just want to say I put a weld right up there, and it's just, that was probably one of my favorite jobs. Another favorite was just doing a bunch of pretty TIG overlays and stuff on some flange welds. I think that one was my favorite job because I was getting paid the most. I was getting $85 an power. I was there for 4 months. So
Nice.
yeah, that's what helped me get my house. So,
I like that one. That's a good job.
but
That sounds like a I wasn't working there, but it sounds like I was with the X in Midland. That sounds exactly like the layout it was, like energy drinks, the white truck. I love that one.
I was walking out there. I'm just searching through this pipe, going, "What do I need to weld?" And finally, another truck comes up. He goes, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm looking for something to weld. I have no idea why I'm out here anymore." I said, "I was told to come out here, weld up something." And he goes, "Well, who did you talk to?" I said, "Well, I just talked to that guy in the white truck." He goes, "Well, that's your fucking problem. You talked to the guy in the white truck. You never talked to him." Well, I didn't know that.
I love that. I can't wait to repeat that one. Just to talk some shit. All right, and I know it's getting late, you guys. I'm sorry. Let's wrap this up real quick with some advice to somebody, to your students who are watching. No, they're already there. To somebody who's looking into getting into a welding program. Not necessarily yours, but we want you to go to Scott's, of course, but to any welding program. What's some good advice that you could give them before getting into a program?
There's a couple is just do your research. Just because they're everywhere doesn't mean that they're the best.
Right.
Check out all their social medias. Are they talking? Are all they doing is just talking and never showing any welds from their students? Or are they showing off their students? Because that's what you're supposed to do at a school, is show the work that your students are doing.
Yes.
What's their placement rate? Right now, we're at 85 to 90%. If they're saying it's 100%, they're lying. No school has 100% placement. If they are, they may be placing students at their own facility for their own benefit. Never, but I've never seen a school get 100% placement. So make sure that you get their job placement. Ask what the range of pay is. If they're saying that they're making tons of money, every single student's making tons of money, you might want to research that a little bit, because I'll tell anyone, I'm placing any students from 15 to 34 that are staying in town, and I'm placing students that are heading out around 40 to 50. But it just all depends on where they're going. See how honest they're going to be with you. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything.
No.
Exactly what's happening. Look at their facility. Just because they're bigger doesn't mean that they're better. If they have 300 students and you only see 2 instructors, that's probably a red flag right there.
Whoa.
You might want to see how many instructors they actually have. But I always like smaller schools because it's more personal. But make sure that you find your preference. Make sure that make sure it feels right to you. That's the number one thing. Make sure it feels right. Make sure that they're not selling you into a dream that it may not be for you. Make sure that school fits your needs. See if you can customize your program. Not everyone's going to be a pipe welder. Not everyone wants to be a pipe welder.
Right.
You may want to be a fabricator. If they offer fabrication, what kind of fabrication? If they offer pipe welding, is it just in the booth or is there simulations? There's many things to look at, but it's just doing your research is the biggest thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, you say doing the research, but people don't know this until they actually see these type of conversations, because you see it and you're like, oh, welding, that's cool. Now what?
Yeah.
I was in the same place, and I was grown. Like, I know how to do my research. Like, one of the things I actually did was just Google, and things will come up, rates, reviews, places, and you're like, oh, okay. But you don't know to look this and check that and check this. Like, only me as like an adult, I'm like, you know what? Social media, that's my thing. I went to school for marketing and advertising. I'm gonna check their social media, and I want to see how people vibe with each other. It's very important. But you don't. I mean, kids, they're young, especially the younger ones. They don't know.
Oh yeah, and it's just like that's why it's kind of hurting you in sales, but I don't care. I don't want to sell them. I want to make sure that they get the right fit. That's why I've told them, go check out other schools. If I'm your first school that you've seen, that's great. If you've watched me just like people have seen on social media and you think that this is the perfect school, I'll sign you up. That's not a problem. But I'll also tell you to go look at another school. Go check out another one. See if it fits your needs more than mine. If
Yeah.
it work, I'm always going to be here. Come check me out. We'll sign you up right then and there. But you gotta, if a person's saying we're the best, no matter what, we beat every other school. It's like, are you, or are you selling?
Right.
Make sure that they're genuine with you. If they're pushing you, it's probably not the right place.
Smart. No, that's those things that you don't pay attention to. You sometimes, I think, people get caught up in all the glamour, quote unquote glamour, but all the frills and not necessarily the basic necessities. Everybody's different. It's not going to be a one fits all. Not everybody's going to fit into, the vibe at your school. Not everybody's going to fit into, whatever other school. But that's very, very good information.
Yeah, there's no one right or wrong way to pick. It's really just asking, and that's what I keep telling people. Ask questions. If they're reluctant to answer your questions, something's wrong. But
Right.
ask any questions you can. I don't know how many times I've toured students, and I'm like, "What questions do you have?" And they're like, "Nothing. I'm good." And I'm like, "No, seriously. What questions you have about the curriculum and all this stuff? Understand if you're a little shy. When I was in high school, going into my career in welding, I wouldn't talk to fucking no one. I hated talking. I had to literally force myself to get in front of people to actually get better at talking. And so
Same.
I understand some people are like that, but ask the questions.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. This is your future. It's not someone else's future. You got to start it right.
Now, do you offer any type of like workshop or like intro before your class? I know at least here a lot of the shop classes for any of the trades, carpentry, electricity, welding, all that, they're not here anymore. There's very few. So do you have anything that's like a kind of like a taste into the program before they actually start investing?
I have done that on people that are. There's a few ways I do that. Is if they're iffy, if they go, I really think this might be what I want, but I don't know if I'm actually going to like it. I have offered them like a day or two to come in and just weld. I'll set them up on some T joints, do some MIG welding, some flux core, and just teach them a little bit. And if they like it, awesome. We'll sign them up. Another one is like there's a guy Giggly on here. He didn't know what program he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
He asked me. He said, "I have some previous experience. I want to come down to your school." He's from like Lafayette, Texas. So he came a good amount ways. And he said, "I got some previous experience. I want to be the best at welding, but I don't." I don't know where I fit in your programs. And I said, come down. Let's do a few days of training. Let me see where you can fit.
Mm-hmm.
And when I diagnose how your welding is, then I'll tell you my recommendation. And that's what I did. And then he signed up, and he started with PWA. I want to make sure it's a good fit. If you're really iffy, I have no problem offering it. And I have done workshops in the past. I've done Rose workshops. I've done beginner MIG welding classes and stuff like that on Saturdays for like 8 hours. I got a little bit too busy for that. I know a lot of people want them back. They're going to come back. I'm just took a break a little bit.
No pressure, no pressure. I'm just asking. That's what I do. I ask.
Oh yeah. Well, no, they're beneficial. I love having them. I just needed a break. It was getting crazy. I was working so much, and I was like, need my weekends. That's where the family time came in. I was spending like 13 hours here, and then all of a sudden I took up a Saturday, and it was like,
Holy moly.
I was like, I got to focus more on the family and all that stuff. So I took a step back from that. They will come back, but they're going to be, I was trying to have one every month. Probably going to have one like every 2 to 3 months, just spread it out a little bit, just to kind of, because I have gotten a few signups from that. I had one guy, his name was Guillermo. He came into 2 of my workshops and then signed up for a class right after that, and now he's in Alaska.
I just saw the Alaska. Yeah, that's very cool. Come
Yeah.
on. That's the perks of your school. You get to watch your students all over the world.
Mhm. Yeah.
Very cool.
And that's one thing that I tell them is you can travel anywhere.
Yeah,
I've sacrificed a lot of money to just stay home because I like being 30 minutes from my house.
right.
This school's 10 minutes from my house. I wanted to be close. Um, and I've told them all, I'm like, I knew the sacrifice I was going to make taking non-traveling jobs, staying home. I knew I wasn't going to make 150, 200K and all that stuff, where you travel. I said I knew I was going to make, little lower money, 50s up to 80s, sometimes hundreds, depending on overtime, uh, whenever I got out there. But I made a good life, and I knew the sacrifice.
Hmm.
Traveling's there.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. You know what? I have been on the road for the past 10 years. Look, I'm literally a modern nomad. I think this is the longest I've stayed in a state. Oh God, I can't even tell you, for a very long time. So, you know what? You find yourself eventually. And you know what? Hopefully I'll be in Australia soon.
Oh, one place I want to go. I think they're on lockdown right now, but yeah, that's one place I want to go. One of my end goals is to travel around the world and weld with people.
Yes, dude, that'd be badass.
So that's one of my goals eventually is to just travel the world and weld with everyone that I can. Everyone from social media and
All
all.
the people from social media. Yes.
So,
Totally. Well, Scott, I appreciate your time, and I know you eventually got to get to sleep, even though I don't believe that you even sleep. And I appreciate everybody that's come through. I hope that this has helped people, like, kind of like build a better plan for when they want to start welding, or even like entice them to try it. If, there's a lot of people that came through here. Um, I want to hear about that next thing that should have been announced this week. So, and I'll blow you up all over the place. So I'll make sure I post and post and post. But I appreciate it. I really do. I like having these conversations because I think sometimes we get so busy in our worlds, we don't have time to like just hear. Like, how did you do it? What's your background? It's more like teach, 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 and always like you don't get to hear the backstory. And I love to hear your backstory. It's very cool. It's nice to watch it. So I appreciate you taking the time and talking to us.
oh, not a problem. Thanks for having me on.
Course, of course. All right, guys, we are gonna wrap it up. I'm going to repost this and I'm gonna let him go, but I'll put a bunch of information. I'll tag all the peoples and thank you for following me. And I appreciate you guys helping me celebrate my. This is our 1 year anniversary with Welding Women Syndicate, and I will see you guys actually Tuesday. I got another surprise. So until then, peace out. Bye.
Yeah.